My name's Kaylin Goodwin, and this is my project. My title is A World Without Bees and Trees. Have you ever stopped to think about what this earth would be like with no living species besides humans? Sure, we've all heard about the rapid extinctions of our plant and animal species, but most of us just blow it right over our shoulders. But it can't be too hard to live without them, right? We would face a few minor problems like the ones explained by Jules Howard. Green algal blooms, stench of scavenging fungus, no worms to oxygenate the soil, and soil would essentially be dead and likely to blow away. But those are all jobs that a man and our advanced technology could take care of, right? Humans are too ego-boosted and hot-headed to see the problems before it's shoved in their faces. With the increasing rate of climate change, we need to find solutions before this becomes a part of our futures. Background. Climate change is still an intensifying issue deeming on our current environment and their inhabitants. As stated in the website Climate Change Basic Information, quote, Earth's average temperature has risen by 1.5 degrees Fahrenheit over the past century and is projected to rise another 0.5 to 8.6 degrees Fahrenheit over the next 100 years, end quotation. The greenhouse effect is what is causing the temperature to rise in our atmosphere. Summarized in the website Climate Change Basic Info, the greenhouse effect is what locks in heat to the earth to keep it habitable for living species such as ourselves. But as humans continue to do harmful activities, like releasing excess gas, it is putting too much harmful gases into this blanket of warmth, causing too much of a temperature rise. With this drastic change in temperature, it is having a negative outcome on many species. Climate change is causing the destruction of many environments and habitats, making them unlivable. With this sudden change in lifestyle, species are doomed to the outcomes. Many tend to die off with not enough adequate time to escape their damn fate. Others will migrate in adequate time but face hardships that could lead to their declines. With many shifts in living conditions, the food chain is also disrupted in its pattern. When species flee their natural habitats, the other animals dependent upon them are left without their prey to eat, starving them out of existence. The environment is also absent of their natural beneficiaries that are brought with the species. For example, elephants are known to create a source of water for the other types of plants and animals. Quote, during the dry season, elephants use their tusks to dig water, end quote. If elephants were forced to move locations, the other species would dehydrate and the habitat would experience drought. With major changes occurring, there will be counter effects that will cause harm to our environments and the species that live there. Research. As climate change is still an ongoing occurrence, it will nonetheless continue to cause detrimental damage upon our plant and animal populations. As it is the main source towards the increase of atmospheric temperatures, it is leading to the decline and extinction of many species. As described by staff blogger for Earth Institute, Renee Cho, certain species are endangered for the future if the temperatures continue to go up as expected. Quote, the International Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change estimates that 20 to 30% of access plants and animals could be at risk of extinction if average global temperatures reach the projected levels by 21,000. Evolution would have to occur 10,000 times faster than it typically does in order for most species to adapt and avoid extinction. The hot temperature makes it almost impossible for these species to survive in as quickly as they change, leading to a decline in many of their populations. With severe shift in living conditions, many are ill prepared to adapt with this alteration of circumstances, which leads to unpleasant consequences. Quote, climate change can alter where species live, how they interact, and the timing of biological events, which could fundamentally transform current ecosystems and food webs. These asynchronies can include mismatch in the timing of migration, breeding, pest avoidance, and food availability. End quotation. With sudden changes, species do not typically survive, as a lack of routine can cause difficulties in their survival methods. The discordance of an environment can cause a damaging effect on not only the species' life cycle events, but along with that, their food web timeline as well. Quote, differing rates of migration present a challenge for many species, which may have evolved to rely upon each other. For example, a pollinator and its preferred food plant may become separated. The problem of geographic separation is similar to the problem of temporal separation. In both cases, interdependent species may become separated as their environment changes. There is a decline in number of species in a geographic area. Many plant and animal populations are disrupted with the disappearance of their food source, which they formerly depend upon, making it difficult to find new ones. Migration can also be forced upon a species due to climate change, as their environment shifts and they may not find it suitable to survive in anymore. Migration is a risky act for all species and can cause many hardships to the ones migrating. Expressed by Dr. Gregory Backus, postdoctoral scholar at the University of California, and Dr. Marissa Baskett, department vice chair, professor of website UC Davis, plant and animal species that are not equipped to act fast enough in face of higher temperatures and migration will go extinct faster. Quotation. With projected rates of climate change, species that are dispersal limited and species with narrow thermal tolerance will be especially at risk for extinction. End quotation. As the necessary need for migration and the disruption of the eating cycle are two major obstruction byproducts of climate change, it downsizes populations tremendously. We should take this issue with more caution, as it can also have harmful impact towards us. Not only does climate change cause a drawback in the beneficiaries provided by our environment, but it also can cause a decline in our nation's economy. Quote, increases quadratically in global mean temperature, costing roughly 1.2% of gross domestic product per plus 1 degree Celsius on average. End quotation. Even though climate change is still a well-known topic through our community, it is not acted upon as much as it's talked about. Takeaway. My ideal outcome for my audience after my presentation is to have them more engaged and interested in becoming more involved in their community with the plan to slow down climate change. I hope they recognize their part in the involvement in it and take part to limit their contributions to the problem. I will involve my audience by proposing ideas to help take part. For example, recycling, using more sustainable energy such as solar and electronic, upcycling, and more. I hope by offering these simple steps, it will help the audience see that you do not need to do something big to help. I'm hoping for the outcome to have a positive effect on the audience and the environment. And lastly, listed on the last 2 pages are my references. Thank you.